And just like that, we are back. Hello, Coco. Hello, JM. Avy's back. Shep said back in the saddle again. You got it. Hey, Lexi, what's up, girlfriend? Nana Banana. If you guys missed the show this morning, check it out. If you missed the members live yesterday, definitely check it out because it was a lot of fun. Amanda Hudson. What do we owe the honor, girlfriend? I haven't seen you in chat in a long time. I'm super glad you're here. Hello, Mel O. Connie got some snow. Even the picture that she sent me this morning made me cold. I almost had to put socks on. Lala, I was just thinking of you this morning because somebody said, quit, OJ. OJ gets real antsy when there's 2 shows in a day. Yep, he's going to start knocking stuff off. Yeah, somebody in chat this morning said, your vibe is your tribe. And I was like, Lala says that. And I was like, where has Lala been? You old stranger. Where you been, you old stranger? Yeah, you're going to hear some knocking around and stuff because OJ's in a mood. He wants to watch Beetlejuice. He watched it like 3 times yesterday, which was good for me because I could get some work done. Got to be kidding me. And let me tell you what, you got to be kidding me about this situation in Florida. And I love me some Florida. Love it. And I think we can all agree that Sheriff Grady Judd needs to be in every county. Okay? He needs to be in every county. Much to my dismay, after this news broke yesterday, hey, Kiki, where you been? Sorry, I thought I had to sneeze. Much to my dismay, after this news broke yesterday, we're going to watch the press conference from WFLA. I'm just doing my part. Nothing was on the news about it. Nothing. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that there's a lot of important things going on in the world today. But this is very important. You're telling me Savannah and Hoda have time to talk about a writer's strike in Hollyweird, but they can't talk about this? This bust was enough to kill 5 million people. Now, let's stay away from politics and all that stuff because we know where that's going to go. It just becomes a dumpster fire. Amanda said she's been lurking in the replays. Leave me a comment, girl. Snow said it's surprising how many things don't hit the media. Yeah, they suck. They suck. There. I finally sneezed. You know, I've been sucking that sneeze up since the last show and it's driving me crazy. OJ, I think I'm allergic to you. Do you think I'm allergic to you, OJ? Let's tell everyone happy hump day.
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
It is hump day. We have almost made it to the weekend. That never gets old. Avy, wishful thinking. TJQ said people have gone crazy. Yeah, we live in like, what they call it on Seinfeld, bizarro world. It's like everything is upside down. A child is kidnapped by a total stranger, and people say, well, what were the parents doing letting the kid ride their bike? Because kids ride bikes, you freak. And in this case, I cannot believe that the mainstream media is not talking about this. It's ridiculous. And yes, rapper, happy November 1st. I'm going to take a poll real quick before I get to the serious stuff. Who has their Christmas tree up? Anybody? Anybody? Hey, Helen. Bueller. I do. Now, mind you, the woman that refuses to wear socks will put, if I could, I'd put my Christmas tree up after 4th of July. Oh, Snow knows me too well. We go way back. She's like, you do, don't you, Brooks? Ryan said, me? I got to see your pictures. I bet your tree is beautiful. Angel is telling me to stop it. Love one another. You have your tree up. Okay. Okay, Miss Always Right Ryan says, I have 2 up. They're just not decorated yet. That's okay. I know how that feels. Mine's getting there. All right, let's get to it because I think this is very concerning. Every sheriff should act in this way because, well, this fent problem, I have to abbreviate because it's YouTube and they've been getting a little soft in their old age. I had to have some when I was in the hospital. I had a cyst on my ovary and I wasn't responding to any pain medicine. When they gave me that, woo, not a care in the world. They told me they were going to have to go in through my abdomen to get the ovary out. They explained everything, and I was just sitting there going, that's okay. That's okay. Can I touch your face? Can I hug you? And they were like, no, we don't need a hug right now. We don't need a hug. No. But it's not meant for street use. So good work, Polk County. Very good work. Because enough fentanyl to kill 5 million people was seized during an undercover operation that led to the arrest of 3 men, 2 of whom were in the country illegally. Now, I've already seen the comments on WFLA. People are talking, they're getting into these arguments about people being here illegally. They're like, well, they're people too. We know they're people. But they're bringing things into the country that kill people. Okay? The law is the law. Would you let your 14-year-old drive the car? No. They check for ID going into the bars to make sure you're 21. Well, in my day, they didn't, but they do now. Except they don't ID my old ass. This is very, very concerning. We got a lot going on in the world all at once, and it's scary. So let's get to this because when I saw this yesterday and I saw the lack of coverage, even Beigefield didn't have much to say about it. Here we go. And I'm going to put the link up because I want to hear what you guys have to say.
I have today with me Mark Glass, who is the commissioner of FDLE, Brian Haas, who is our state attorney in the 10th Judicial Circuit, Susan Lopez, who is a state attorney in the 13th Circuit, and our Attorney General, Ashley Moody. We're here to talk about an investigation that we all work together. And truly, it's the only way we can appropriately do these investigations. We were also joined by the Hillsborough Sheriff's Office, which assisted us, and the Florida Highway Patrol, which assisted us, and the Federal Homeland Security, which assisted us. And this was the single largest, let me say that again, investigation and seizure of fentanyl in the history of Polk County. Now, the sad part about it is I was here just a few months ago saying this is the largest seizure of fentanyl in the history of Polk County. Listen, folks, this stuff is killing us. And my colleagues are going to give you the details about that, but I want to give you an overview. And this just rings all of the bells. So it being Halloween, it's trick or treat. They tried to treat us with fentanyl, and we tricked them with an arrest. And we are here to give you Juan Manuel Gutierrez Medina Sr. He's 56 years of age. Juan Manuel Gutierrez Jr. Medina Jr. He's 25 years of age. And Roberto Roca, who's 55 years of age.
Keeping it in the family, aren't they? Keeping it in the family. Two of them were not supposed to be here. Now, we have a woman in our community, and I'm not going to say her name, but one of her children suddenly passed away. And through investigation, they found out that a marijuana cigarette, I have to put it that way because it's YouTube, that she had procured was laced with fent. And she died. She died. Miss Chronic said, hello, my loves. I only live 15 minutes from Polk County. Hey, go get an interview with Sheriff Judd. I would love that. It's horrible and it's sickening as hell. We all know the answer, but we know that the uppers won't do it.
Let me explain what happened. We went undercover. Our detectives are simply the very best. And we met with Roberto Roca in Bartow. He showed up on time. Did you hear that? I mean, for those of you that are watching this that understand undercover drug investigations, no drug dealer shows up on time. I mean, it's just genetically inclined. So this guy shows up as he's supposed to. We can't determine his alien status, but he delivered to us 1 kilo of cocaine, and that was on September the 14th in Bartow. Then on September 16th, we got this kilo from Manuel. Then Roberto showed up on September the 16th with 3 more kilos. So now we've got 4 kilos of fentanyl. And this fentanyl is mixed with methamphetamine. It's stamped into pills. This is really pure meth. So the investigation's underway. We met with Roberto again on October the 5th and made a partial payment. They were fronting this dope to us and had never met us before. Did you hear that? That's how fluid and how much of this dope is around.
Now that is scary. For one, and I wouldn't know. He said drug dealers never just show up on time. They did. They were fronting the money for the drugs. He's like, that's how fluid this stuff is. That is scary. And it's infiltrating our kids.
And for those that are familiar with the dope world, normally you don't float kilos of fentanyl, meth, cocaine with someone you just started doing business with, but they did. During this time, we're having conversations and we figure out this is Sinaloa cartel dope. And it came from Sinaloa to Compton, and then it came to Polk County straight out of Compton.
Gangster. So this cartel, they are bad hombres. Okay. The Semolina cartel, they are bad, bad people. They sent it to Compton, California. And Sheriff Judd said, and it came to Florida straight out of Compton.
So as the investigation went on, Juan Sr. left to go to Compton to pick up some more drugs. Now we followed him around in Compton, and he went from there north towards San Francisco, and he came back. In the meantime, we have a warrant for his arrest, a first-degree felony, 25-year minimum mandatory, 30-year sentence. So we worked with the sheriff's office in Los Angeles County. And we said, hey, his phone's pinging in this house. We've got surveillance. Our guys were there surveilling. We also had Homeland Security there with us. They wouldn't knock on the door. Did you hear me? The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department would not knock on the door. They said, hey, we're glad to help you if we find him on the streets. If we catch him driving, give us a call. We'll be all over it. We don't knock on doors. I don't understand what that's all about, but I can understand that if that is their standard policy, we now have another example of why the felons own California. The dope smugglers own California. But they made a mistake when they came to Florida because we knock on doors. We arrest people. So on the 18th, Juan Sr.
See, and I cannot understand that. Why the authorities in California, when they knew what was going on, why they didn't just get a warrant from the judge, knock, knock, or as they do in Oklahoma, no knock. They just break the damn door down. They have a warrant. They don't care. They're like, call Home Depot and get a new door. Could have been stopped there. How many people died between their lack of give a shit, and when it made its way, all of this, because that's not all they had. That's what they showed up with in Florida. How many people were affected while they decided they would not go to their door? Cowards.
Is coming back. And when he gets into Florida in Suwannee County, the Highway Patrol stopped him for us where we arrested him. Now they're in a panic. He's locked up. By the way, we have an ICE hold on him. Did I mention that he's here illegally from Mexico? And he's been deported several times. He's got a long history with Border Patrol. And he's here again, and he's bringing poison to kill people in the United States. So he's under arrest. They're freaked out. They need money. So anyway, our undercover guy's still cool undercover. And Juan Gutierrez Medina Jr. delivers us 6 more kilos on October the 20th in Hillsborough County. And then on October the 25th, we, along with the Hillsborough Sheriff's Office and the FDLE, arrest him. Now, what's important to point out is Commissioner Mark Glass and I have discussed this the entire time, and they're going to give you the details that I have left out about the funding. But FDLE was with us every step of the way. But I want to point something out clearly. No one of us can do this by ourselves because it quickly left Polk County when you're talking about smuggling this much drug. When you understand how deadly this drug is, when you understand that 10 kilos can overdose and kill 5 million people. You see, because it takes 2 milligrams to overdose and kill someone. When you understand that the drug dealers don't give a red cent about your life, they're there to make money, you understand how dangerous this is. Now, you add to the mix that there is a very violent, deadly Sinaloa cartel involved in this that's bringing the drugs up. They're bringing them here with Juan Jr. and Juan Sr., who are here illegally. In fact, Juan Jr. was removed and tried to enter the country 4 days later after his removal and somehow got back here again. But of course, if he gets to California, nobody's paying any attention out there, because in California, they think more of drug traffickers and criminals than they do of honest, law-abiding citizens.
So they boot his ass out of the country and he comes right back. Border Patrol has their hands tied, and meanwhile, this fent is getting into the hands of people and killing them.
So the case goes on. It's still under investigation. There are ice holes on father and son now for whatever good that does. But we have the power team here today. I thank our Attorney General, Ashley Moody, from the bottom of my heart. I'm introducing her first to speak. She is the one that brings us all together. She is the one that's there when it's time to work and keep the people of the state of Florida safe. You see, we saved lives, lots of lives, a ton of lives, because we took this drug off the street. General?
Thank you, Sheriff. Today is Halloween, and it is certainly a scary announcement that we are making today, because today is not just about Polk County, although your amazing Sheriff, Grady Judd, and the hardworking men and women with him and with FDLE probably saved a bunch of lives here in Polk County. That's the reality of it. But today is an announcement that involves some scary individuals, not only within operating criminal enterprises within the United States, but originating in Sinaloa, Mexico, and the Sinaloa cartel. The reality is, when folks talk about our wide open border, and we talk about the scary people traversing our border, as a federal judge said in a case that we won here out of Florida, that the border is now nothing more than a line in the sand. There are scary people just freely walking back and forth over that border. I've been there personally, repeatedly, and I've watched it with my own eyes. And it's not just scary people, it's drugs that will kill you. And when I say that, parents, please be advised, this is a moment to talk to your children about what is happening in our country and the realities that they are now going to face in our communities. Because if you had a doubt, there should be none any longer. Fentanyl is here, and it is killing Floridians. And I thank so much for law enforcement for stepping in the gap when our leaders are not sealing off that border as they should. The people that are stepping on those front lines and doing the dirty work are our law enforcement men and women. And they will tell you this stuff is dangerous. When they go in and try to arrest someone or seize fentanyl, it can kill them. And they are grieving as well as they watch people in their communities pass and die from preventable harm. And so we thank Sheriff Judd, we thank Commissioner Glass, we thank everyone involved for stepping into the breach and protecting Floridians. And when Governor DeSantis and our law enforcement leaders send people to the border to help those there trying to intercept those coming across, they are doing that to protect the men and women and children in Florida. Here's the reality. In this one case, originating in Sinaloa, Mexico, into the United States, and right here into the heart of Florida, Polk County, Florida, 5 million people could have died as a result of the seizure of 10 kilograms of fentanyl. And this is very pure fentanyl. Now, let me put that in perspective to you. That's enough to kill every child in the state of Florida. They seized enough fentanyl that could kill every child in the state of Florida. The fastest growing demographic of those dying to fentanyl overdose are children under the age of 14. This is such a significant case. This could have harmed so many people in Florida. And so this is not just about this Polk County. This is about our nation. This is about our state. This is about mitigating the harm to our children and our community members. And I thank Governor DeSantis and our legislative leaders as well, who had the forethought to dedicate specific resources to investigations in cases just like this. In this past legislative session, I was so proud to stand with Governor DeSantis when he said, we're going to allocate resources to law enforcement investigations targeting fentanyl poison peddlers. And this is the first case as a result of those grants. So congratulations goes to Sheriff Grady Judd and the Polk County Sheriff's Office. This is a major victory, not just for this county, but for our state. And it shows when you give resources to the men and women of law enforcement to do their jobs and protect our state and protect our citizens, it works. And so when you see nonsense policies in other states and other cities that are just imploding, like how can we distribute more drug paraphernalia programs, drug vending machines, open air drug markets? The contrast to that nonsense is the state of Florida. Because we know in order to stop this, in order to protect our citizens, you have to go after the head of these organizations and cut off the head. And you have to put them in jail for a long time. These folks that Grady Judd was pointing out will face significant drug charges. And at the same time, while we will be aggressive and we will be forceful in going after those murderous individuals, by the way, these folks, and I don't know, if I didn't hear this, I'm sorry. There was some indication that when they were just packaging these drugs, when they were just transporting them, people were passing out and they had to be revived with Narcan. So they are selling this stuff in our communities knowing that it could kill people. They are murderers. They are injecting poison in our communities. So we have to be forceful, determined, focused, aggressive, going after them, and we will. It sets us apart from other places in this nation that are on a downward spiral. But what we will also do in Florida is focus on how do we help those that are struggling? How do we help those that have become addicted? And I would implore on this Halloween, with this announcement, anyone that has found themselves suffering from drug addiction.
And I am so glad that she brought that up. Lisa, mic drop. She said, not that it helps now, but maybe this could have been prevented if doctors hadn't been giving out opioids like M&Ms years ago. Yeah. The oxy crisis was real. And those pharmaceutical companies were pushing it. And they were purposely going to high industrial areas where there's a high rate of work comp because those people are going to be in pain. And they would push it and push it and push it, even to the point that the doctors were convinced, which they should know better, that it was safe. So let's say a doctor's out playing tennis and hurts his elbow, hurts his knee, whatever. He would start taking it to get over the pain. And guess what? Doctors addicted. Nurses were getting addicted. Then these people get cut off, and what do they have to do? They go to the street and they find it. And these criminals know where there's a void, they're going to fill it. And it's horrible. Horrible. Now, I think we all know that when someone has a problem, they don't throw their hands up and say, God save me, I need to go get help. Help has to be available.
Even if it hasn't been to fentanyl, fentanyl is now in every drug that is on the market. And it is being put into drugs, and people are ingesting it unwittingly, and they're dying. So if you've ever thought about getting help, in Florida, we've dedicated resources. You can go to treatmentatlas.org and find a place where you can get help based on where you are, based on your individual circumstances. I would implore you to take advantage. We've made it easy to do, and we've dedicated significant resources to recovery. So again, thank you so much to Sheriff Judd and to all the men and women of law enforcement. I was able to personally meet and thank those that are going in and disrupting these organizations. It's hard work. It's dangerous work, not only because of the drugs involved, but because of the people involved. And the state of Florida owes you a debt of gratitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you, General. In fact, you know, in most of my press conferences, we bring the dope here, but we have only photographs of the dope. It is immensely dangerous just to do hand-to-hand undercover transactions of this drug, because just the dust can be a fatal overdose. So they literally risk their life just to buy this. And you were right. One of the folks, senior here, the leader of the pack, said on one occasion out in Compton when he was packaging up dope, they had to call paramedics and use the AEDs, as he said, in order to revive him. And on another occasion, while he was packaging dope, he collapsed and he woke up the next day. But I have with me Mark Glass. Mark Glass has been our commissioner for just over 1 year, and he called me with some great news. He says, Grady, he said, we have more resources that was created by the legislature and Governor DeSantis. I can tell you Governor DeSantis has shown time and again that he's going to protect law enforcement, and he's going to protect and have the backs of the people who keep the folks in the state of Florida safe. Florida is a safe state. It is the only safest state in the union of large states. Listen, folks, this is huge for us. What the governor and the legislature did, and Mark Glass led the charge. FDLE was with us every step of the way. We could not have done this investigation without the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. So I'll turn it over to Commissioner Glass.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate it. Thank you. One of the best part of my job is, as commissioner, is seeing the life-saving work that our law enforcement community does every day. And as you just heard from the Attorney General, that's what happened here. Life-saving work. These agents and deputies went in and they've tracked this stuff, this terrible, terrible, toxic stuff. And I believe, Attorney General, you said it best one time, weapons of mass destruction. So, and I agree with that because of what it can do to our neighborhoods, what it can do to our children, what it can do to our society. This has no place in the state of Florida or in the United States or anywhere in the world, if you ask me, other than medical. So with the help of Sheriff Judd, I did come to him and asked him to let him know that we had this program. And I will tell you, this marks a special milestone for public safety, because these are the first arrests in our state using the SAFE grant program. And what is SAFE? SAFE is short for State Assistance for Fentanyl Eradication. And this program provides money and for local law enforcement agencies and their investigators to root out fentanyl and drug traffickers. So, and this is exactly the type of case that Governor DeSantis had in mind when he signed that SAFE grant into legislation. So this money could be used for investigation techniques, overtime, and other things that these departments so desperately need to do these type of long-term investigations. Now, the governor understands that investigations into drug trafficking organizations could be very expensive and also cost prohibitive for some agencies. And this is what this grant is made for. And it's easier to arrest low-level street dealers, but much more time-consuming and dangerous and costly to investigate entire organizations. Now, I want to thank Governor DeSantis and our lawmakers for their support of the SAFE program. And also firsthand, I know this is just first of many cases and there's more in the hopper. So I'm hoping to have more of these type of events with the sheriff and the attorney general and the governor. But I'm going to tell you, never has been a time when shutting down a drug trafficking organization has been more important. We have open borders, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed that. Now, I had the privilege and the honor to fly out and look and be at the border with Sheriff Judd from Polk County, the attorney general and the governor. And we were able to stand there on the border and see how porous our borders are and what's actually going on there. We actually had the opportunity to have a set of binoculars looking out through the big fence and looking out in the distance and seeing a fentanyl factory in Mexico run by this cartel that you just saw this 10 kilos come from. We actually saw the place. And that shows you how close they are to the border and how brazen they are just to cross it over at any time. But let me give you a little idea. And the medical examiners from the Florida Drug and Deceased Persons Report. Now we're talking about usually 6 months to a year behind on the data sets. But medical examiners determined there were more than 7,000 drug-related deaths in 6 months. 7,000. 7,000. I mean, think about that. 7,000 people, and Floridians are not, in 6 months, were gone due to drug-related deaths with fentanyl. That's a lot. I mean, any other time we would consider that an attack, a war on our populace. So this drug is terrible. It's killing more people than we can shake a stick at, and it's more potent than heroin. And they don't care. They'll put it in Xanax, Adderall, and counterfeit prescription pills, which is getting a lot of our youth. They're thinking they're stamped and they're done well, and they got it from grandma's cabinet, and they're going to use it and sell it, and they're stamping it. And you sometimes can't even tell what you got, and you don't know the mixture of it, and that can kill you in just a moment. Now, we're so lucky in Florida to have dedicated law enforcement officers that we met today that were working this case with my FDLE agents and officers like Sheriff Grady Judd. His leadership in this great county, in Polk County, is amazing, and it outreaches beyond Polk County. It reaches all throughout our state and our nation. And I'm thankful for his friendship, and I'm also thankful for his brave men and women that work for his office to be able to do what they have done, and working with my special agent in charge, Mark Brutinell, and my FDLE agents, being able to put this type of stuff and to stop it from getting to you and your families in your local communities. Now, I'm also very thankful for everything we've been able to do over the years, working with the different departments. But this is a reach out to all law enforcement entities. I want you to take advantage of this SAFE program. There is funding in there, working with our agents. And if you need to know more about it, you can call Sheriff Judd. He can tell you how great the program is. Please reach out to that. And we'll also, too, just get with your local FDLE, and we'll be able to help you and walk you through it. But this is here. The Governor DeSantis signed us into legislation, and he is adamant about eradicating fentanyl in our great state. And thank you, Attorney General, for your support in this. And we appreciate everything you do for us, too. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, sir.
Disgusting. Disgusting. Snow said, "Oh, thanks, Brooks." Yeah, any moderator, if you don't see a wrench by your name, message me. Because, when we were doing, I don't know what was going on. If we were doing a trial, the Murdaugh trial or something, like all at once, we had like 2 moderators. And I was like, I don't know what happened. I said, so you have to come into chat, leave a comment so I can remod you. If not, it would take me forever. But this is disgusting. Disgusting. And the fact that they saved so many lives. Now, like I said, I'm not getting political, but I am going to add that they're going to keep bringing up the governor because, well, he's running for president. And that could be a lot of the reason why the mainstream media isn't talking about this. That could be why.
Next, we're going to hear from two of our state attorneys. My state attorney, Brian Haas, as I stand up here and say, he's simply the very best state attorney, but I guess I've got two great state attorneys, the best today. No matter how much work we do, if it weren't for these great state attorneys prosecuting the case, then nothing would happen. And Brian Haas and I work hand in glove every day, and that's how it should be between law enforcement agencies and the state attorney who's the prosecutor. His team is awesome. I couldn't be more proud of Brian and the 10th Judicial Circuit because we go after bad guys. And that's why crime in the unincorporated area of Polk County is at a 51-year low. We couldn't do it without the prosecutor, without the prosecutors, without these offices. They're the ones that ultimately keep the state of Florida safe by making sure that the very violent, the very dangerous criminals go to prison and remain in prison.
And that's the truth anywhere. Without a strong DA, a strong, very ballsy prosecutor, you're not going to get anywhere. Which, by the way, I think these are totally unrelated. That is the problem in Hawkins County. I believe their weak DA is what's holding up justice. I saw on True Crime Beats, I was watching one of her videos the other day, and somebody was getting after her ass, and it was about Summer Wells, and said, if they done something, they'd already be arrested. And True Crime Beat responded, some cases take longer to shake out, basically. And they do. But you have to have strong law enforcement and a strong DA. Somebody that's got the balls to put it all together and convince a jury.
Mr. Haas?
Thank you, Sheriff. I think this case is really an example of the crisis that we have in our country, but it's not about a faraway place at a border somewhere a great distance from here. It's right here in our community. And this shows that the drugs are making it here and they're having an impact on our citizens. You know, this morning I started my day speaking to some high school students. It's actually my favorite part of the job, getting to work with kids and talk about their future and inspire them. And as I'm standing here, I can't help but think about these drugs and the intended target. And I believe it was kids just like the ones I spoke with this morning. And thankfully, these drugs will not reach there. But we know that this fight goes on. And these kids have such a promising future. They are our future of the community, who have all kinds of great plans ahead. But if they're get a hold of these drugs, it's not going to be that way. So this is real impact on real people. And I'm so honored to be the state attorney of the 10th Circuit and to have the partnership that we have with Sheriff Judd. And then you look at a case like this where we have our state law enforcement partners and our attorney general. What a great team to do the best we can to stop these drugs from coming into our community. And the last thing I'd like to say is a shout out to our law enforcement agents who work these cases. They're the ones that are putting in the work that can be such a grind, and it's just flat dangerous. And they're missing things with their family, important events that go on. They put these things first. It's priority. And it's because of them and their dedication that we are able to have these cases. So it's an important moment. The case goes to the courts from here. And another great thing about the state of Florida is we have great laws, and our legislature and our governor have been very careful to make sure that we have strong sentencing in cases like this, mandatory minimums. And I'm so thankful for that, because that really, really helps us when it comes time to put these people where they belong. And that's in Florida State Prison for a very, very long time. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today. Thank you, Sheriff.
Let me introduce to you Susan Lopez, the state attorney for the 13th Circuit, which is Tampa and Hillsborough County. She's made a remarkable difference in a short period of time. I was blessed that I was invited to be there when the governor appointed her as the state attorney. And what we've seen with the Honorable Lopez is her and her team going after the violent people, the bad people, certainly the people that were leaking across the county here committing crimes for us. She understands that nothing is more important than the safety and security of not only the people of the state of Florida, but specifically Tampa and Hillsborough County. People are alive in Tampa and Hillsborough County today because Mrs. Lopez is your state attorney. And she is going after people in a team effort, in a team manner with all of us to make sure that we're all safe. And she has some of these cases because working with FDLE in Hillsborough County, some of our arrests occurred there. So, Susan?
Thank you, Sheriff. Sheriff is right. This is a team effort. Crime knows no boundaries. It doesn't know where the county line is. So it's important for all of us to work together. I want to first applaud the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and all of our.
Great statement by her. Crime doesn't understand the right thing to do. Criminals don't go to the law library and brush up to figure out if they're breaking a law. They don't care. They don't care. They're in the country illegally. They don't care. They're on a mission to do something bad. And nothing's going to stop them. It's like we hear arguments all the time after a crime has occurred and people say, oh, we need stricter laws. Okay, that's fine. I get what you're saying. But a criminal doesn't care. They already know if you kill someone in some states, you can get the death penalty. They know there's life sentences. They don't care. They're criminals.
Of our state lawmakers for creating SAFE program. It's directly addressing one of the biggest public health emergencies that we have, and that is fentanyl. Plain and simple, fentanyl kills. SAFE is saving lives. A piece of fentanyl the size of a grain of sand is enough to kill one person. 1 kilo of fentanyl has the potential to kill 500,000 people. These criminals that we've learned about today were trafficking enough of this poison, and that's exactly what it is, poison, to kill millions of people in the state of Florida, not only in Hillsborough County or Polk County, but all across the state. And through the diligent work of our brothers and sisters in law enforcement who put their lives on the line every day in everything that they do, I do not doubt that many, many lives have been saved. We've heard a lot about the border this morning. We always hear about illegal fentanyl coming in from the border, but few of us think that it will actually make it to our doorstep. I'm here to tell you, and you've heard this morning, that fentanyl has made it to Hillsborough County and it's made it to Polk County. In fact, in Hillsborough County in the last 5 years alone, the number of fentanyl-related cases has jumped by 1,300%.
1,300%. 1,300. Now, I'm not going to go see the street corner pharmacist, so I feel that I'm safe, okay? But I think about how it's been infiltrated into other things. I read a story of a kid that took what he thought was a couple of Tylenols, but they weren't. They had the fent in them. And he died.
Why is that? Drug traffickers are using fentanyl to cut or to mix in with other street drugs. It's cheaper to make, and they can then therefore turn a bigger profit. And unfortunately, fentanyl is killing mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters, our friends, our families, our coworkers. In Hillsborough County in 2022, we had 226 fentanyl-related deaths. That is why my office and Mr. Haas's office are taking such a strong stance against these drug traffickers and drug dealers. The legislature has given us strict laws, Trafficking in fentanyl is a first-degree felony punishable by up to 30 years in the Florida State Prison. In an amount 28 grams or more, it is punishable by a 25-year mandatory minimum prison sentence. There is also a $500,000 fine associated with that charge.
Well, I'm not so much worried about the $500,000 fine, but I am happy that they're going to get 30 years. The slaps on the wrists that other states are giving these poison peddlers is disgusting. Disgusting. Now let's go to the root of the problem. Well, one of many. Forgive me. They're saying that all of this is coming out of the Sinaloa cartel. My understanding is they're getting their inventory from China.
Five years ago, almost no one had heard of it. Today, it's a household name. Fentanyl.
Aquí, ¿cómo lo llaman al fentanil?
Diablito.
Porque peligroso.
Sí, bastante normal.
In the US, fentanyl is helping drive overdose deaths to record highs.
It's wiping out a generation.
While in Mexico, it's disrupting the drug trade in ways not seen in generations. But few people understand how the cartels are getting their hands on the chemicals necessary to make fentanyl, or what the fallout will be if they continue to churn these raw ingredients into more deadly pills and powders.
¿Y el color? ¿Cómo van a batallar para venderla?
Por esa que estás haciendo ahorita, ¿para dónde va?
O directamente lo compré. Estados Unidos.
From Mexico's cartel country to the border and into American communities.
Wow.
I'm going deep inside the fentanyl pipeline to see exactly how it's fueling the most devastating drug epidemic in U.S. history.
Tú sabes lo que estás haciendo.
Even JLR would not have taken this assignment. And we know he's ballsy. He'll show up anywhere. Even Jonathan Lee Riches would not have taken this assignment to go into this cartel.
Aquí que está distribuyendo, que está matando personas en Estados Unidos.
Como por eso hay mucha demanda porque está matando muchísimas personas.
In just a few years, fentanyl has become the most popular synthetic opioid on the streets, and Mexico's cartels have stepped up to supply this demand. But it's a little-known secret that the cartels can't make the drug themselves. They first need to source these potent chemicals from somewhere or someone else.
¿Podemos hablar un minuto? So they're saying that it was one of these big cargo ships that we see all around us that threw these barrels overseas. Then the fishing boat over here got a GPS location of where to pick them up. Picks them up, brings it up, and then there's a meeting point here where these guys come and pick it up and then take it off to land.
In 2015, fentanyl emerged on the black market in a big way. Potent, cheap, and readily available on the streets without a prescription. In the US, overdose rates exploded to record highs. But here in Mexico, fentanyl became a boon to the underworld economy. Which is why I've journeyed inland to witness how the cartels transform the precursor chemicals into street-ready drugs. It's happening tonight in an underground lab, where we'll get a glimpse into the future of the Mexican drug trade.
Aquí en Sinaloa, antes era pura heroína. Ya no hay más. De la revolución de este negocio, el cambio fueron los sintéticos.
Unlike heroin, cocaine, or marijuana, fentanyl doesn't need farmland, or water, or sunshine. It can all be made in an underworld lab like this, by a handful of cartel chemists.
Este producto es la base para la M30.
So you're saying just this little amount here, if we were to ingest this somehow, this amount could kill you immediately. That's how powerful this stuff is. Ponemos las máscaras ahorita?
Sí, ya.
Ahorita. Okay, everybody, we should put the masks on. This is where it starts getting dangerous here.
If these chemists combine the raw materials just right, In a matter of hours, they'll have successfully completed the next step in the process, creating sellable black market fentanyl.
By the way, don't try this at home. Not going to get a recipe here. Okay? Your hand is going to look like Ham's if you happen to see that picture I posted in the Facebook group. Freaks me out.
This is the pure fentanyl. They mixed all the liquids that come from Asia, a lot of times from China. They mix it and they make this. Look at this stuff.
Ácido clorhídrico mezclado con ácido tartárico.
I'm hoping, really hoping this guy knows what he's doing here.
Aquí empieza a excitarse la molécula.
I'm starting to think my team and I should get the hell out of here. Outlaw narco-chemists accidentally kill themselves all the time.
Oof, this is so nuts.
Vale, ahorita, no, déjame terminar.
Once the paste dries and the room clears of deadly fumes, I'm told it's okay to take off our masks.
Esta es la sustancia cruda base de las pastillas M30.
Now that the chemical ingredients are properly balanced, it's time to craft the fake M30 pills. Each one designed to mimic the look of Oxycontin, the most popular painkiller in America.
Tú sabes que lo que estás haciendo está matando millares de personas en Estados Unidos, ¿lo sabes?
Va marcada la M30 con una marca de nuestro cártel. Entonces, si esa mata a alguien es porque alguien adulteró esa pastilla.
The ugly truth is that fentanyl supports an incredibly lucrative underworld economy. That means jobs for cartel accountants, couriers, and chemists, and for those who undertake one of the most dangerous roles in the pipeline, prepping the drugs for the final crossing into the United States.
Este viene siendo para matar el humo. El perro se va a confundir.
I'm watching a shadowy game of cat and mouse. In less than an hour, these drugs are headed to the most frequently crossed and one of the most heavily patrolled borders in the world.
And how do they get through with those dogs? How? Ilyanka said, can I see Cam's hand? I don't do Facebook. There it is. I don't know what the hell happened to his hand. But one of Ziggy's mods sent it to, somehow got it and sent it to Ziggy, is what I heard. Yeah. I don't know what the hell's wrong with his hand. If my hand looked like that, I wouldn't be dyeing my hair purple and making shorts. I'd be at the ER.
Last year, U.S. Customs and Border Protection seized more than a ton of fentanyl. And yet, these packers plan on foiling thousands of highly trained agents and billions of dollars of surveillance technology with little more than homemade ingenuity.
He has other products here. He has mustard. He has... ¿Eso qué es?
Suéter.
Softener, laundry softener. And all this is to avoid any sort of smell.
The packers tell me they'll make $2,000 for their work tonight, $400 per package. And just like everyone I've met on this journey, they do their job, and then they pass the drugs on to the next link in the supply chain. The girl he's referring to is tonight's driver. In the trafficking world, she's called a drug mule, but I'll call her Beatrice.
¿Y hoy en la noche para dónde vas?
Voy a Los Ángeles.
¿Cómo haces para pasar?
Tomé el pasaporte americano.
Beatrice tells me she's been doing this for a year and makes $3,000 per crossing. Fentanyl trafficking convictions in the U.S. have increased by nearly 5,000% over the past 6 years. And those who are caught are almost always sentenced to prison.
She has to be super nervous, you know? She's packing 5 kilos of fentanyl. So it's a very strange feeling because on the one hand, we've met her and you sort of don't want her to get caught, and I'm actually nervous for her. But on the other hand, she has a car packed with drugs that can kill a lot of people in the U.S.
It's complicated. I know Beatrice has a growing family to provide for. But in all my years reporting on the opioid crisis, it's the parents who lost sons and daughters to overdoses that I remember the most.
They use coffee, fabric softener, and a lot of stuff to cover the smell. And also, they have women that come in through the border, as you know. No secret there. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Mexico. I would love to have a big old tray of enchiladas right now. But just like every country, they have their issues. But they have women that come across and they have it stashed in their hootenanny. Okay? And then there's someone on the other side that fishes it out. Now, I don't know about you, times are tough, but I'm not sticking any of that junk in my trunk to help out the Sinaloa cartel.
And I can't help but wonder what they might think as I watch Beatrice attempt to carry a deadly shipment across the border. But this is how a majority of drugs are smuggled into the U.S., according to the DEA, through legal ports of entry on the southwest border, stashed in passenger vehicles or tractor trailers. And I'm here to witness it for myself.
She's stopped. She's being checked right now. I would say just put the cameras entirely down.
Just when I'm certain she's busted.
Oh my God. They're letting her go. Yeah, she's just going into her car and leaving. I can't believe it. They just let her go. I can't believe it.
When we contacted CBP for comment, they told us, quote, U.S. Customs and Border Protection seized over 750,000 pounds of illegal narcotics in 2019. Our officers remain relentless and are always working to stay one step ahead of the cartels. But with so much demand for drugs and so much money to be made, it's a difficult task. In recent years, there have been almost 200 drug overdose deaths in the U.S. every single day. And fentanyl is the major reason.
I think that's actually our woman with the drugs inside her car. There's a guy in an orange jumpsuit with a mask. So it looks like that's where they're doing the deal right here out in the open.
The masked men tell me they're all native Angelinos, American citizens who work directly for the Sinaloa cartel.
Do you know what's in this package?
I do not know.
So can you tell me more or less where they're heading?
It's Oklahoma, Texas, Atlanta. This is one of the main distribution areas that we have here.
This is very much like a hot potato where they just want to get it out as soon as possible.
Got green arcade deployment.
Never have so many people been addicted to such a deadly narcotic. Never has the need for solutions been more urgent. I worry that the fentanyl supply chain seems too big to fail. Too many people benefit. Americans will have to find a way to slow the demand, because the suppliers will always find a faster and more profitable way to deliver the goods.
Disgusting. And he flat out said they're going through Texas into Oklahoma. That's all I need is OJ getting fentanyl poisoning. That's all I need. And if I saw somebody wearing one of those scary ass masks, I would know I'm in the wrong business. I'd go to selling Avon. I'd say no. We're already lucky that OJ's been marked safe by surviving Joe Biden's kidnapping. I don't think the second time would be a charm, but that's according to Dawn. And Candace Wells missed her calling because here's the thing. They sort of like women with stretched out uteruses, wide set vaginas. Think about how much she could bring over. It wouldn't take much to get it fished out. Nasty. Nasty. And it's invaded our country. We need strong judges, strong prosecutors, strong law enforcement. And I cannot believe that the mainstream media is not talking about this more, especially after what went down yesterday in that press conference. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to put the link up again if anybody wants to come up. If not, I'm going to start closing it down. I've been on my soapbox long enough. You guys probably get sick of hearing my voice. You want to hear somebody else's. Bueller. Lala said no, the visual. Nufflin, have a good night. All right, guys, this has been a great show. I love when we can get 2 shows in a day. Oh, hang on, it's Avi. Hello, Avi.
Hi. How is everybody doing?
Good. Are your cats safe?
Well, husband hasn't brought the couch yet, but we're gonna still prop the couch in front of the cracked door to prevent Biden from getting a hold of any of them. So that way it'll definitely be no one in and no one out.
Thank goodness. Or CPS, because, Don's saying CPS, but I think he's missing the big picture. And I mean what I say. If they had a strong prosecutor in Hawkins County like they do in Polk County and many other counties, they wouldn't be sitting where they're sitting. But we're not here for that topic. You're muted, Avi.
Am I back?
You're back.
Oh, thank goodness. So I can't really go into too much of what I do because
Are you there, Avi?
can you not hear me? Dang.
No, I can hear you now.
Oh, good. I'm going to stop moving around for 1 second. I just thank you so much for covering this. I'm in financial crime, so I can't really go into what I do, but this is the kind of stuff that I deal with every day. And people think that this stuff isn't real and that's not really happening. It's really happening and it's really bad. If any of y'all have, teenagers, please have this discussion with them if, they're wanting to mess around with drugs. This stuff is in weed. I mean, it's everywhere. So kids shouldn't be doing drugs anyway, but I know they're going to experiment. Please know what your kids are doing. Please get involved and please know about it because it is so, so dangerous. And I cannot thank you enough for covering this. I hope everybody in here hits the thumbs up to push this out into the algorithm. People need to know about this. This is a real problem. I can't stress it enough.
It's an epidemic.
It's awful.
And it's very important. There was a runner that died from Gatorade. Somebody had put it in the Gatorade.
Yeah. It's really bad. It's really bad. So everybody out there needs to be really super careful. You know, it would be, in my opinion, would be a lot easier if weed was legalized because, you know, people who like to smoke weed, you know, they get it from dealers. Well, where is that coming from? Could fentanyl be involved? Absolutely. Everybody needs to be really, really careful. I cannot stress it enough.
And preschool Granny just went through an awful tragedy in her family. She said her stepson lost his life because it was laced weed. We
Yeah.
know another girl that happened to. We had a guy that used to come on the show all the time. He lost his daughter to it.
It's out there and it's only getting worse. It's really bad. Please keep your children safe. Talk to them about it. Uh, Share this video. Please let your loved ones know, because it is that serious. It really is. I am going to have to get back to work, but I did want to come up and say that and also say hey to everybody. But please, everyone, hit the thumbs up, push this out into the algorithm. And thank you, Brooke, so much for covering this. I cannot thank you enough. And this is now because you showed this and shared this. Sometimes, you know, whenever you wake up, you're like, what am I doing with my life? And then whenever I see this and how much of an impact it really is, it's like, oh yeah, that's what my purpose is in life. I'm helping to track down these criminals through their financial activity. And I can't go into the details, but it's a really big problem. And, you know, people don't think it's as big as it is. Trust me, it really, really is. So keep your loved ones safe. Let everyone you know. Share this video, like this video, and thank you, Brooks. I love you.
Love you, girlfriend.
All right, I'm going to drop back down and chat, but I will still be around.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut her off. I'm sorry, Avi. Stacy said, it's real, just lost a family member. She was 26. Ilyanka's laying down the law. She said, just don't bring it on my property. My house, my law. There you go. You got the castle law, my friend. Inch High said, is this going through people's skin or only oral or? I don't know how to ingest it. Like I said, when I had it and it wasn't made by the cartel, I was in the hospital and they had to remove my ovary. And it came through the IV. And I sounded like Candace Wells on a Tuesday night. It is some strong stuff. Strong. Well, I want to thank Avi for coming up. All of you for being here. I know we had a small crew today. Not gonna lie, I love a intimate group where we can speak more freely. That's why I like members' lives so much. And I am just so happy you guys are here. So we have 2 shows tomorrow. Of course, 9 a.m. because I want to talk about that nasty bitch in Ohio that was a social worker and was extremely inappropriate with one of the boys that she was supposed to be overseeing. It is a horrific, horrific story. So you guys be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Like I said, we're going to get in 2 shows tomorrow, maybe 2 on Friday. I don't know. I've been taking new vitamins. Sonia said, woo, I thought you meant me. Not you, girlfriend. No way. I've got new vitamins, so I have an extra pep in my step. I have a little bit more energy. So I love the CLL family. Thank you, mods. We've got new members today. And just thank you for being here. Thanks for being my friend. And just thank you for being the best chat and best community on YouTube. You guys are the absolute best.